Okay, so my name's Tom Oakes. I'm the head of growth for the UK charity Re-engage. We work nationally to reduce loneliness in later life for people over 75. We do that in various different ways. We bring volunteers together with older people to provide services, whether that's face to face in tea parties or activity groups, or over the phone through our befriending service. And we currently support around 6,000 older people with around 7,500 volunteers that we also support. So me and Jerry started with Reengage around the same time. So I'd been brought in as head of growth, which is a new role. The charity had been around for 60 years at that point, but was had been a similar size for many of those years, and they wanted to start to 10x their growth. They wanted to start to look to expand nationally. The previous CEO, Merrill, had introduced me to Jerry, and Jerry came in as a sales coach for the team and the department that I was looking to manage, which was the engagement team. And the idea was to bring sales techniques and commercial techniques to a charity working in the third sector to get the engagement team to think about the role and the job that they played in attracting volunteers, recruiting volunteers, speaking with the referrers to recruit all people into our service, to start thinking about using traditional sales techniques in order to do that. So even though we weren't selling a product, we were selling opportunity to volunteer. We were asking people for a transaction including their time rather than their money, and that we felt we could adopt the same sales techniques into a charity setting. And Jerry came on board to facilitate that for me. So traditionally, the third sector attracts very well-meaning, shall we say, staff and teams of people who want to do extremely good work for the people that we serve. They had talent across a number of different. Well, they had a number of different skill sets, including being able to organise and project manage, being able to treat people with empathy, to be able to look after people's mental health and well-being, being able to bring people together in social ways to help them facilitate those social connections, and all these types of things that are required for an engagement officer within a charity setting. The skill set that we identified that they lacked was the ability to be able to view the interactions they had with our volunteers in a way that you would as a salesperson. So essentially, we wanted to create a funnel, a sales funnel, and a pipeline, so we could manage our relationships better up until the point that a volunteer was recruited or applied to become a volunteer with us. And we wanted to look at ways that we could bring in those non-traditional techniques that had been used in charity settings and those traditional sales techniques to look at profiling, to look at pipeline sales. And we needed someone to do that. You know, my background was in sales, but I'd run my own businesses in the past. I hadn't worked in sales offices, whereas Jerry obviously could bring a lot more experience around how to set up a sales team and a sales office. And he was perfect for me as I was looking to restructure and reorganize my department to come and really drive in some of those skills that we were looking for around sales. So I found Jerry extremely accommodating, extremely friendly. I think that's important to say. You know, he was someone
Yes.
that I got on with straight away. We had very similar thoughts on how we could approach the work. What I really liked about Jerry was obviously his background was sales, but he adapted very quickly to a charity setting, non-traditional work environment for him, but he was still able to work quickly to establish what was needed. He always met his deadlines as well, which I know is a very, very simple thing to say, but you know, he's not somebody who was working exponentially with us for a long time. He knew he had a short period of time to work with us and he wanted to maximize the work that he did with us, and he did that brilliantly. You know, he was always sending me reports and making sure that I was up to date with the work that he'd done, giving me feedback on the team and how the team had done. It was just a really slick process, but had real momentum and provided real outcomes for us. You know, real clear outcomes for us as well. So working with him was. Yeah, how would I describe working with Jerry? Jerry's professional, he's friendly, he's accommodating, he's certainly able to adapt into a non-traditional setting for a sales person, and he was a bit of a rock for me as starting in this role. And even though he come on a consultant basis, I quickly established a meaningful working relationship with him that which continues to this day. You know, I've brought him in several times throughout my tenure in this role to train new staff, and I would happily continue to do so. So I worked with Jerry from June 2023 for 6 months. We worked until the end of the year that year, and he had done a full suite of training modules with the guys in my department at the time. I was going through a heavy period of recruitment as well, so I was bringing in new starters throughout that period who he helped integrate and support and train. We've then worked several times since then, probably 3 times, maybe 2 or 3 times since then, where I've brought him in for short periods to do some refresher training with the guys that already work in the department and to help bring new starters up to speed with some of the sales techniques and some of the work that Jerry did with the other guys to make sure everyone has a similar background and a similar grounding in sales before taking the role on, basically full time. So yeah, we've worked together a lot, and every time he's been brilliant, and he's done different things as well. He's brought in short-term training that's been delivered online over a couple of days, and then he's brought in a longer program, perhaps for a week, where he's worked with people over that period to hit some of the stuff that maybe is missing, or the skill gaps that are missing from them. He also works with the people that I've got in my department really well. What I get is a lot of great feedback from them. They love working with Jerry. Whenever I say Jerry's coming in, they're always excited about it. There's never ever a period I've never ever felt that it was something that they felt they had to do. Everyone's always looked forward to it. The most pleasing aspect for me is that when we've done away days as a department, some of the guys that I work with, some of the managers that I've got within the department, they've bought presentations to those away days that are clearly work that Jerry's done with them. So they've expanded on it, they've looked at it, they've researched it themselves, and they've clearly taken some of those learnings on, and then they're sharing it with the wider team and the wider department. That's been the most pleasing element of it. It's a training program that we delivered that's clearly had impact and continues to do so, and continually comes up within our conversations. It's not something that we did and we moved on. It's something that's now woven into the way that we work. I think the best recommendation I can give to Jerry is, or for Jerry, is he was someone that I was able to, that I, let's put it this way, when I first started, I had to trust Jerry. I didn't
Yes,
really have a
yes.
choice at that stage, and I had to trust him. And what he did is he delivered, and he didn't let me down, and he's continued to not let me down since. And I think that's what's important. When I was working with him, I have utmost confidence that he'll deliver what needs to be delivered, but he'll also work with me to decide what needs to be delivered. So it's not necessarily on me to know precisely what's wrong. I can see where the gaps are. I can see what's needed, but Jerry will work with me to create a program that works, and like I say, flexibly as well, whether it's short term sort of singular seminar lectures, or work with us longer over a 6 month period to really embed training. The best recommendation I can give for Jerry is he's just never let me down. He's always delivered. He's always been on time. It's always been within budget. And as I say, more than that, people have enjoyed it. The staff have enjoyed it. The team have enjoyed it. They continue to talk about him. I will mention to them that I've done this for Jerry today, and they will ask about him, and they'll ask how he is. You know, he made a lasting impact in the work that he did with us. And even though that's several years ago now, we're still talking about it, and we're still using those techniques that he brought in to drive performance. And we are growing. And that was my remit, was to grow this organisation, and we are. Simple as that. Just let Jerry know that I would love to catch up with him at some point, and I'm really pleased to see that the head of sales is thriving, which I always knew it would do. I think it's an absolute cliche to say people buy from people, and Jerry is one of those salespeople where very accommodating, very friendly, and he's someone that you will happily work with, and I would happily work with again. And I'm sure anyone who does choose to in the future is going to have a positive experience. And Jerry will work hard to make sure that he delivers, which he did for us.